Hello and welcome to another edition of IIABCal Voices. I'm your host, James Lott Jr. I used to work in the industry for about 10 years when it was IIA West. I worked for the Insurance Skills Center section of the company. I was the event management director and I did the education coordinating. And I have so many friends that are in the business that are doing great things, but also people I'd never met before either. So now I'm back after 11 years. I've been gone from the industry, but I am back doing collaboration with them. And it's been so much fun for me to do this, to talk to people who are doing amazing things in the insurance industry here in California. This gentleman is no stranger to this also. And he's in one of my hometowns of Sacramento. I want some Jim Boy's tacos, that's another story. He is the Director of Carrier Relations at InterWest Insurance Services. I know InterWest, I know them. Also, make sure I get all his different credits in here. And if I miss one, just let me know. Of course, he's a graduate of Sac State. I know Sac State. He is currently executive committee member for the Independent Insurance Agents and Brokers of California. He's a past president of IIAB Agents of Sacramento. I love that. Past chair of IIABCal Emerging Leaders and was a NorCal regional director of IIABCal. So he is entrenched firmly in the association. My new friend, Rob Oates. Hi, Rob.
Hey, James. How are you, sir?
Good, good, good. When I start reading all these, did I miss anything? Did I miss anything in terms of the big things?
No. No, you're just fine.
So, I mean, you have a lot of leadership in here. So I wanted to ask you, when you see this stuff, what makes a good leader? Now that you've had experience leading different things, what makes a good leader in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that being a good leader is somewhat, I don't want to say overrated, but I think the keys to it is just kind of leading by example. You know, and I think that putting people on a path to success, most of the great leaders I know, and I'm far, far from that, but most of the great leaders I know make people around them better. And they also bring in smarter people around them to make them better. And so it's not, it is about leadership, but I think it's about making people better. And that in and of itself will drive great leadership, because I think it will get people to rally behind you and to support what you're trying to do. And I think a big part of that is not just about individual items or issues, but bringing people along and not having them follow you, but follow kind of that faith or that mission of what you're trying to accomplish. And people will do that when you've got a good mission or that good faith to follow.
I agree completely. I was trying to tell people all the time, I said, a person who's in charge, it's not about power, it's about the decisions you actually make, and having people around you who can make you look good. They can shine too. There's no jealousy, they can shine too. But because you chose these people to be your, if they're, you know, assistants or co-workers or whatever the words you want, whatever the terms are and whatever the titles are, it's still making you're lifting each other up at the same time. I think it's so underrated sometimes. You think, well, I'm in charge and I'm the king. And I was like, well, no, a good king has great people around that, great counsel, a great committee, whatever it is, right?
Definitely. Yeah, it's always about the other people around you, because I don't think that you don't anoint yourself a leader. I think the others around you anoint you as a leader by your actions and what you've done, not about a title. The title doesn't it's not about the title. It's about the people who you put around and who you bring with you. So
what has the association, because you have been interested in association and parts of it, what has the association brought to you personally?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's done amazing things. I mean, I never thought I would be in insurance. I mean, kind of that whole joke of you enter through the side door. My father or grandfather weren't in the industry. You know, our name isn't on the door. I kind of fell into insurance, but it was a phenomenal career. And I learned early on and had a great mentor at my first agency that I worked for, that was, you have to be involved in the association, because a strong association makes a strong industry. And as an independent insurance agent and broker, we need that support as an industry. We need people watching our back and providing information and networking opportunities and education to us. And so I got involved early on at the request of one of my early mentors, and he said it was important. So I started attending the Young Agents and Brokers events, which rolled into Emerging Leaders, which kind of carried me through the state and the local different boards and chairs and different positions. And I think it's phenomenally important. And I think that, you know, once you realize that this is a career path that you want to embark on, it's vitally important that you get involved outside of building your book of business or outside of your organization. Those are first and foremost, but I think a close second is getting involved in the association, because as we all know, over the past 20 plus years, there have been many times that whether it's the legislature or other segments want to change or impact how we do business and how maybe we're compensated, how we're employed, numerous things. And it's imperative that we have a strong association to help protect our business livelihood. And there's not a better one than IIABCal. I think what they've done over the years, I think the tremendous support they get from their members and their member volunteers have also become a family. I mean, we talked about that earlier. The association becomes a family, and it's also about networking, because we don't know everything. And it's great to be able to, California is a huge state. And so, I'm up here in Sacramento. I have very good friends in Southern California that have agencies in the Central Valley, in Sacramento, and in San Francisco. And so I think it brings all of those things together and makes it much more fun to do what we're doing as well.
Yeah, no, it's true. I'm a part of several associations. I always feel like a lot of us, we're entrepreneurs. We're entrepreneurial satellites doing our business. That it's kind of nice to be part of something larger that kind of connects us with someone else who's like-minded. That's a great thing. Also, that we all love. You all love insurance. You're all into it. You know what I mean? But there's some value in that, and that there is education opportunities and advocacy we talk about all the time on the show, and things that you can come together you're stronger as a group than you are. No man's an island, right? That kind of thing, right?
For sure. Yes.
I know. I'd love that. I think it's a great idea. And like I said, you've been involved so much. I mean being a president, chairs, all that's a big. So you've been working your way through this business, and we're trying to figure out. We don't know each other until now. Now we're best buddies now. Before the show started.
Yep.
But somehow we both were in the business for like 20 years and I don't know. We didn't run into each other. So that just tells how
we did not.
So that's as large this business is, then how large the state is, how large the events are. It's it's a big eye. Right here. It's a big eye. It's huge here. So you didn't come from an insurance family. Like I've interviewed some folks who did. So why insurance?
I fell into it. I got out of school. Actually got a degree in criminal justice, thought I was going to go to law school or in law enforcement, and it just wasn't working out, and had a friend of a friend that said, hey, we're looking for like a marketing assistant. And I was looking for a job at the time. I didn't know I was looking for a career. I was just like, I'm going to be in law enforcement or go to law school, but I need to start paying some bills, about to get married, had to figure it all out. So I took a job with a retail agency out of Woodland, California. And I worked for two brokers and kind of did marketing, and my marketing consisted of making postcards and stamping postcards and sending them out, kind of that guerrilla type marketing. And so started learning the business. That's where one of my mentors introduced me to the Independent Insurance Agents and Brokers of California. At the time, it was IBA West, and started getting involved in meeting people. And it was a great way to network and to find, like you said, like-minded people, but also people of your own age, because as an industry, and that's starting to change now, but when I first got into it, and even up until maybe even 10 years ago, we were an extremely aging industry. I mean, the joke was male, pale, and stale. And I'm male and my tan's not very good, but I'm not quite stale yet. And so I think that was the other way, is it enabled me to build a network and a community of like-minded people, but become friends with other insurance agents that were in my age demographic. Maybe it was carrier partners, and we've been able to progress in our careers kind of simultaneously, but still maintaining the friendship. Some people have gone from the carrier side to the agency side, and the agency side to the carrier side. Some are in the same roles, but I've been very fortunate to serve on different committees with these folks, and really become real good friends. And we can pick up the phone and have conversations about what's going on, or what struggles we have, or hey, thinking about branching out or doing something different. And what do you know about that, or who do you know? And so you can really network, and it brings something that I never thought I would be, in a career in insurance. I didn't really want a desk job, wearing now there's no suit and tie anymore, but
right.
yes, but yeah. So So that's kind of how I got into it, and kind of why I stayed and why I got involved, because I thought this is kind of the best kept secret. Retail insurance, they don't talk about it in college. When I had gone back with like Mike Orrick and others from the trade association, gone to Sac State and talked to classes, everyone was going to be a certified financial planner, or they knew about insurance companies because they would come and present, and Nationwide or State Farm or the direct writers had those budgets and had the training. And so I would go back, and it was kind of that, you guys are missing out. And so I think over the last at least 10 years, that started to transition. I know in our own firm, we've continued to get younger. I see when I go to events at either colleges or even our local networking events for independent insurance agents and brokers, we are getting younger. I think we're getting more diverse, and we're getting younger, and we've still got a ways to go, don't get me wrong, but I think that that's another part of what a strong association does for an industry. It helps us transition, because we've got to perpetuate the industry. Every individual agency has to perpetuate, every carrier has to perpetuate, and the association does as well, but they can all provide input and insight to how that can be done.
Yeah, you just led into what I was going to ask you, but you answered a little bit, because I was going to say, how do we get younger people in, like out of college? Because I mean, I know, like you said, it's not really talked about. So is it starting to be talked about more, do you think, or is that more we're going to be done in that area too, like going to colleges or high schools to say, here's an option?
Yeah, I think more is being done. Gamma Iota Sigma, which is an insurance business fraternity, is doing more and more. They have a very active business fraternity here at Sac State, and so they're starting to do more. Several agencies have built out internships, including InterWest, where we hire between 8 and 12 interns for a 10-week internship in the summertime, and bring them in and show them the industry. It's not old days internships where they're coming in and they're card filing and they're maybe doing a little work on the they're doing a little work on the computer. It actually is to show them the industry. I think insurance carriers are doing a better job. I know in the past 10 years, several insurance companies have refired up their trainee program, which also brings more people in to the industry, because they're being trained, they're being pulled out of college and saying, hey, we've got a path for you to go from no knowledge in insurance to a career in insurance. And so there's still a lot to be done. I don't want to say we by no means as an industry crack that code, but I think that you're starting to see more of it. And I also think that the next generations also are starting to value what independent insurance agents and brokers have to offer. I mean, I think when you talk to that next generation and you start talking about philanthropy, work-life balance, the ability to make some income, or I don't want to say unlimited income, but a very nice living, those are things that are valued, and value even more so. And what better career than an independent agent to provide those for you and your family?
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that. You just like speaking my language. You make my job easy, because I was going to ask you about that, because I used to make fun of the Gen Zers and some of the millennials. I'm a Gen Xer, of course. But some of the things that they kind of, I thought, whined about. Actually, I kind of like that part of it. Like you said, work-life balance is being more now taught. I was taught you work hard. If you're lucky, that you could have a life. Like you work hard, you could work hard to get a life, so to speak. Where they're much more like their feelings are very important, and how systems are set up. Like, oh, okay, it's not all bad, and it's not all hippy dippy or whatever. Actually, it's important. You just mentioned how that is important. And I've been hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, that the insurance industry, working in it, actually facilitates having a family too. Like you can kind of work within that easier than some industries. Is that true?
I would say yes. I mean, and I would say that I think that is a bigger draw as you look at generations and where it's going and what a career in insurance affords you. Whether it's on the carrier side or the independent agency side, you can go anywhere and get a job once you've been trained, whether an account manager, a broker, risk management, claims, and that goes to the carrier side as well. And it also goes to private businesses. Again, I had a good friend who started out in the industry, actually underwriting. He got into risk management, and now is a risk manager for a Fortune 500 company now. And so there's so many ways you can go. And I think that fulfills a lot of that need to be able to learn new things. I think as an industry as well, you can have the great thing about being an independent agent or a broker, you get to learn about all the businesses, because you're kind of part of, the attorney, the accountant, and the insurance agent are kind of part of that business consultant team that entrepreneurial or business owner hires. And so you get to learn about their business, and you get to use maybe some of your entrepreneurial skills to help them by providing a product. But the product is kind of the easiest thing we do. It's more about the consulting and the coverage that they're going to afford than it is the placing the insurance is the easiest part of the transaction.
Well, also, I always feel like, as I'm talking, you're like my 7th or 8th interview at this point, and talking to people, that this is a very people-oriented business anyway. Like, it's about people. It's for people, by people, about people. I mean, it's people. We have to remember the insurance, the policies, and all that. That's all, like you said, kind of that's the last thing, so to speak. It's actually getting them there and meeting their needs, right?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, and I think that is what's so important. And you talk about the people part of it, and a lot of technologies come into the space in the segment, and you hear about disruptors and evolution or revolution. And I like to think of insurance over the past, since the early time in the Chinese inequities, where they used to split up their cargo onto multiple ships. They were transferring that risk. They were saying, hey, I can't put all of my cargo on one ship. If that sinks, it's all gone. If I transfer it to 3, now I've risk transferred. Well, the beginning of insurance. And I think today still has that fundamental value of obviously risk transfer, but it enables to still be a people industry, as you mentioned. We've got great technology that's come in to help support us. And it's been evolving over that time since the 1600s, let's say. It's always evolved. It's not, I don't think that there's any technology that's going to so much disrupt this. I think we're going to evolve into it. And whether that's, in small commercial or in personal insurance, being able to meet the client's needs where they are at 24/7, help support. But the technology that we're starting to see to help evolve the industry for maybe the next 30 and 40 years is the analytics that come into it, the ability to be able to use analytics, and also to find new and unique ways to cover risks that maybe were different than just transferring risk for a fee. So I think that it's come a long ways. It still continues to go, but as long as I'm in the career, and I always joke that I still have 30 more years to do, is I hope it's a people industry, because that's what makes it fun. If we're sitting behind computers and we're just shooting stuff back and forth and we don't get to talk like this, or you don't get to meet people, network, educate, learn about their businesses, it will lose some of its luster.
I agree. A little example, I think, to me, I just thought of this as you were talking. This is my network, JLJ Media, and we created something that was kind of revolutionary, but not, because it was I said we took old school and mixed it with new technology. We brought back the first audio soap opera in like 50, 60 years. Soap operas started on radio. And so, and the soaps now were off the air because of COVID. They weren't phone. So we created a soap that's now on podcast. And it's very successful. It's called Forever and a Day, if you want to check it out. But the whole thing is, we took what you're saying, we took part of something that was old and something was new, and we found a way to put it together to meet the needs of the public. So now that's why I just bring that. I'm not saying it should be shameless promotion. I'm saying it completely reminds me of that you have to evolve,
sure.
Take the basics of insurance and how you do it, but maybe mix it with the new technology and still meet the needs of the public. Correct?
For sure, definitely.
I got some brains, folks. I know a few things. I know a few things. But no, I know. I like the idea. It's like when I was talking to Brian Pinaviano on another episode, talking about meeting people where they are, right? That's kind of the thing. It's like every industry has to evolve, right? I mean, I'm on Zoom. This would normally be in a studio. I mean, we'd be in a studio. We can't do it right now because of COVID, but it's like you have to kind of evolve with the times. And so I always get worried about insurance, but insurance is always around, right? But that's not really going anywhere, right? That's always going around.
I think a big portion of it is because risk transfer. I mean, and not to get on a soapbox or make it. We're not curing cancer. We're not curing cancer, but at the same time, without risk transfer, starting a business would be extremely hard. Creating a product, providing services would be extremely hard to do, because are you going to stake your, family's well-being and your life savings on that without being able to transfer some of the risk? I don't know that would happen. So being able to transfer the risk for products or services enables people to go out and try these things. I think we're going to see, with being in the, especially in California, in the shelter in place and COVID-19, we're going to see, unfortunately, some businesses that don't come back, and some small businesses, and probably medium, and some probably large businesses that won't come back. At the same time, out of this pandemic, I think we'll also see new businesses come, new businesses form, people bring new ideas with what's happened. And I mean, you talked about your digital soap opera. These things will come, and without insurance, people would not be as apt to start new businesses, create new products, and try to move better themselves and potentially their communities forward without it. So while I would never say, I think everything can change and will change, and things can go away. I mean, we don't want to be naive and bury our head in sand and say, we've done it like this for so long. But I think at the same time, the general principles won't change. The mechanisms, the technology, the way we do it may, but the principles won't change.
Okay, now we're going to go from that end to another end. Rob, what is one thing you think people will be surprised to know about you?
That's a good, I don't know. I'm pretty much wear everything on my sleeve.
You seem like you're that kind of guy. I'm wondering if there's something that people just be like, oh, he does that. Like something or something you experienced or tried that's not insurance related. Something that you do.
Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of talked about it. I've been in California about 27 years, but grew up all over the South, lived in 5 states over 15 years. So I have a pretty unique background when it comes to experiencing as a child growing up. So I've lived in 5 different states until we came to California, and I think those experiences have helped me, be better at my current role. You talked about being a people person. Well, if you're moving every 3 years, you got to go into school, and you remember adolescence and kids can be tough, and so you got to go into a new school every couple of years, make new friends, meet new people. And so I think that, unwittingly, my time traveling as a child actually prepared me for the career I'm in now, and networking and meeting new people. So I guess that would be something, I don't know if it's that exciting, but something that they may not know.
No, that's very interesting, because I have friends who are Army brats who have that same kind of thing, where they say they're very adaptable to situations because you always moved around, there's no roots. But then it must be nice to have roots, though. You're in Sacramento now. It must be nice to stay put and have your feet on the ground for a while.
No, it is. It's great. And it helps you create kind of a personal network and a professional network as well. And, on a personal note, my kids live down the street from their cousins. And so that's another built-in thing. When you move a lot, you don't have that extended family. And so, being here, my wife is from here. She has an extended family here. And so we get to have those large family gatherings that may have not happened growing up. So that is something that's very nice about being established. And then also establishing yourself in the community, and not just in business, but outside of that, in maybe some nonprofits, and being able to give back to the community that has given us so much, and being able to build that over time, and continue to give year after year, that consistency as well. So that's another great thing about being rooted in a community for an extended period of time.
I like that, Rob. I'm the same way. I always give back. I just feel like it's a no-brainer for me. Wherever I live, I always get involved somehow. And there's many different ways you can get involved. There's no one way to do it. There's many different ways you can get involved.
For sure.
I believe in that also. Last question. I can talk to you forever, but last question. If one of your kids said, I want to go into insurance, what would you say to them?
I would say definitely. We talked about this earlier. My name's not on the door, but I think insurance gives you the backbone for a lot of businesses, just like accounting does. as well. But it's a great base, and it can be used in so many different segments. Like I said, you could stay on the retail insurance agency side. You could get on the carrier side. You could work for a third-party administrator. You could work in private industry as a risk manager. So I think the skill set, I think, is sometimes maybe overlooked or downplayed a little bit. And we did it, and I did it early on, talking about kind of falling into the industry. You know, nobody talks about falling into being an attorney or accountant. They say, I wanted to do that. Well, so we kind of downplay that. And I had somebody tell me once, actually at a networking dinner, why do we do that? But and I think it's just because, you know, insurance for the longest time was seen as kind of the old movie Death of a Salesman, you know, or Glenn Ross, you know, coffees for closers, you know. And so I think that, you know, our age and older kind of have that unique mindset of what an insurance agent is, someone selling life insurance door to door. Whereas I think that's changing, and we are becoming one of those business professionals, those consultants that are, you know, that, you know, Mike Work and a lot of people talk about that three-legged stool. You got your accountant, your attorney, and your insurance agent, and can help make those decisions. So I guess long-winded answer, but that's why I would want, I wouldn't tell my kids they should go into insurance, but if they came to me and said they wanted to, I would do it with open arms, because I think it can afford them so many opportunities. And it's an industry that isn't going away. It's going to change. It's going to transition, but it's not going away. And so I think that's to answer your question.
No, it's a good answer. Good question. I want that answer. It's not long-winded. It's a thoughtful response. That's what we're going to call it. As we're going to talk about it. So trust me, I've done a million of these shows, not this show, other shows where I've gotten, yes, that was the response on camera. You're like, I'm going, is that your answer? Yes? Or sound, yes, I believe that. Okay, well, let's end the show. No, but you were great. I mean, Rob, you're amazing. I mean, now you're my new bestie. We're friends now, so this is good. We got it. Insane.
Yes, sir.
So next, I have to come see you. We're going to have to have a drink or dinner or something.
Definitely. We'll go to Jim Boy's Tacos. Go to Jim Boy's. On me, buddy.
Oh, don't tell me that. I could be there tomorrow. I miss my Jim Boys. I do. There's something about the shells. I don't know. They put the cheese in the shells. I don't know what's about it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so good. Rob, so tell people where they can find your company and stuff, so if they need you guys for any business, because you are available for business.
Yeah, for sure. Our website is www.iwins.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm still part of the Independent Insurance Agents and Brokers, so you can find me at the networking events as well. And yeah, I mean, I anytime you want to talk about the industry or about what I think or feel about it, and how I think it one can get in a career or expand their career, I'm always open and willing to talk about it. Because like I said, I think that it's a great industry. I think it's a little bit downplayed. And I think that there's big opportunities in the near future for the industry. So
yes, and you'll be on the show again. We'll be back on the show again, of course. We'll talk more about stuff. And so that's Rob Oates, please. And I am James Lott Jr. This is IIABCal Voices, and we're here every Tuesday. We release a new episode. We talk to people in the insurance industry who are doing amazing things like Rob and have things to say. And you can follow this podcast. I mean, okay, the audio version. Hello, podcast listener. You can find it anywhere, from iHeartRadio to Spotify to Google, Apple, everything. Go ahead and go under IIABCal Voices or JLJ Media and hit that follow, subscribe button. It's like one or two, it depends where it is. And then the granddaddy of them all, YouTube, my network, you can find this video on JLJ Media. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I think it's like down here or under him, or it's a red button that says subscribe on it. So hit it. There's a playlist where you can watch this episode and all the others I talked to people in the industry under IIABCal Voices. Go ahead and watch it there. And I mean, I appreciate everybody so much. Thank you, Rob, for your time. Everyone out there who's watching, thanks for your support. Be nice to each other, have compassion, and we'll talk to you soon.